Today, perhaps we're going to be looking again at or focusing on the two strategies of Chunky Monkey and Flippy Dolphin. So Chunky Monkey is looking for chunks in a word, and Flippy Dolphin is your vowel sounds. So trying the other vowel sounds. So those 5 vowels that can make a different sound. A, E, I, O, and U all say their name, but they also say their sound. So when you come across a word and the sound doesn't make sense of A, then you have to try flip it and try A. So that goes for E can say E and E can say E. I can say I and I can say I. O can say O and O can say O. U can say U and U can say A. So those 5 vowels make 2 sounds. Now perhaps I want to highlight to you 3 words in our text today that make a different sound than what they usually would. So for instance, the first one that's in our text today is want. Want, usually would go ant, went. That doesn't make sense. That's let's flip it. Ain't, waint. That doesn't make sense. It's want. Oh, like orange. So that's a tricky one. That's why I've put it under the orange, because it says, the A there says oh. And the word sometimes, that's made up of 2 words pushed together. You might see some a lot in your reading. And you know that the O in some doesn't say oh and it doesn't say O. It says, it doesn't say O and it doesn't say oh. It says ah, as in umbrella. So it's times. And the 2 words that also say ah are umbrella and monkey. And the other one that I want you to look at is the word could. So could says oh, as in book. Could. That's another tricky one that you have to remember. So those 3 words are in our text that we're going to be reading today. So when you come across those words when we're reading, think back to this chart. Now prep, this is the book that we're going to be reading together today. Now remember, we're not using our pointing finger because we don't need to point to the words anymore, but we're still we're using our double letter sounds in Chunky Monkey and Flippy Dolphin of our 5 vowels to work out the words. So the name of our story is let's stretch this word out, b-at, knowing that double T says one sound. We don't go t, it just says t. So the b-attle, battle, an E on the end is silent. The b-attle, to b-er. What do I know about E-A? E-A says E. So breathe, breathe. And there's that silent E on the end again. So let's go back and read our title again. Now, because sometimes when we stop to work out a word, we forget what we've just read. So it's really good to go back and reread to make sure that we understand what we're reading. So we might be able to read the words, but we have to know about the book. We have to know what happens in our story. The battle to breathe. And on the front cover, I can see what looks like a seal. And there's another seal down the bottom. And the seal in the middle of the page has its mouth wide open. So I think this story, it's not actually a story. It's a book about seals. It's giving us real factual information about seals. It doesn't have a problem. It doesn't have a beginning to the story. It doesn't have an ending. It gives us real information, facts about seals. Okay, this is the first pages of our story. First, we're just going to have a quick look at the pictures because they tell us a lot about what the words say and about what this book is about. So first of all, on the right-hand side, the left-hand side, I can see a seal with its mouth open. That's the one with the big circle around it. Looks like it's got some sharp teeth there. And over here, we've got a seal lying down. Think about, where do seals live? Well, they live where it's really, really cold. And up the top is a map of the world. And it looks like where they live is labelled. There's a word there. And it's, I don't know if you can read it because it might be a bit small, but it says Antarctica. So that's a really cold place in the world, and that's where seals live. And this seal that's lying down is called a Weddell seal. W-E-D-L. There's 2 double letters in there. Remember, we don't go d-d or. It's just d and all. Weddell. Weddell seal. So that must be a name of a seal. Type of seal. Okay, now we're going to read the pictures of our story. We're going to read the words of our story now that we've read the pictures. So this, and see how that's underlined EA? So that says eel. This seal is called a Weddell. Weddell seal. So I'm using 3 strategies. I'm using stretchy snake, chunky monkey, and we're going to be using flippy dolphin. But we also use eagle eye as well because we're looking at the pictures to help us. So when you're using your reading strategies, you don't just use one, you use multiple. That means a lot, a few, more than one. Okay, let's keep reading. It lives here in this cold place. Now that doesn't make place. Because that A can say A and it can say a. Place. That doesn't make sense. So flip it and I try the other one. A. Place. It. Doesn't. That doesn't make sense. Doesn't. Now, if you down the bottom, I've written does not. That little apostrophe means there's a letter missing. 2 words have been pushed together to make one word. And doesn't is short for does not have food here. With its big there's an NG. NG goes not g. It has big strong teeth. It ax, max, That can't be right. That doesn't make sense. So I can see there's an E, bossy E, A. So let's try A. So aches, makes, h. There's that E on the end, h, o, or h, o. Let's try O. H, o, o. That doesn't make sense. H, o, hole in the is. I. That doesn't make sense either. So what do I know about I? It can say 2 sounds. It can say I and it can say I. So let's try I. In the ice. Ice. It must find food. Food too. EA says E. Eat, and food is under there's that ice. So we need to think about what we've just read and what that's telling us about seals. So it's a cold place where they are. Doesn't have lots of food. They have big, strong teeth. And they're able to use those big, strong teeth to make holes in the ice. It's got to find some food. And it has to find its food under the ice. So it's really good to talk about what you've just read after you've read a page, particularly when there's lots of words there. It's giving us lots of information so that we make sure that we're understanding what the story is. So you might like to pause the story right now and just think about what you've just read and talk about it. so that you can know that you understand. It's by retelling the story. This is retelling facts about seals. Okay, now we're going to read page number 4. Let's quickly have a look at our pictures. So it looks like the seal is underwater, under the ice. It's made a hole, looks like it, and it's down underneath looking for some food. We can see up on the right-hand page that little tiny picture. It's a picture of the seal breaking through the ice and going through down under the water. And the writing on the right-hand side, just underneath the seal, says, the seal has very big eyes to help it see down, way down deep, because it's quite dark. Okay, let's read our text. The seal Oz. That doesn't make sense. What do I know about O? O can say O, and O can say O. So let's try O, because O didn't work. O's. That makes sense. The seal goes D. There's OW that says ow. Down. There's ER, and I know that ER says under the. And I know that that word says ice. It doesn't say is. The seal goes down under the ice. See how I reread that sentence? Because there was a few words that I had to stop and work out. Now here's this word that we were talking about. It's a tricky one, where the O says ah. So s, t, I'm. There's that E on the end making the I say its name. So Flippy Dolphin. So it's sometimes it's f, ood, k. What do we know about OU? Oh, k, ood. There's that tricky word again that says oh like book. So it doesn't say ow. It says oh. K, ood, be a, f, ish. A squid or an octopus. So it's fish could be, so it's food could be a fish, squid, or an octopus. The seal can see the black, the CK. We don't go k, we just go k. Black shap. That doesn't make sense. Hang on, what do I know about E on the end? It's telling the A to say its name. Shape of a fish under the ice. The seal is a fast. That doesn't make sense. In this word, A says ah. Asked. Fast. Swimmer. It. See how I've written will not? That word with the little apostrophe in it means there's a letter there's letters that have been taken out. So won't is short for will not. So instead of writing the two small words, they push them together to just write one word. Won't let that one get a. I know that AY says A. Now, when there's an A at the beginning of the word, sometimes it says ah. So in this word, instead of saying a way, it's away. So it's after a fish or a squid or an octopus. It doesn't quite know, but it can see it. So it's swimming fast so that it doesn't get away. See how I retold what I just read in my own words? I didn't reread it. I just retold it, using my memory of the story and what happened, so that I know that I understood what I just read. Okay, let's go to the next page. Okay, let's have a look at our pictures. Now, the first thing that I can see is that it's really dark where the seal is, so it must have gone a fair way down under the water looking for food. Let's read the sentence that's underneath the seal. It says the Weddell seal has long okay, let's stretch this out. Whiskers that help it to feel. So it's got long whiskers to help it feel where it's going and if there's any food around it that it might want to eat. Okay, let's read the words of our story. The eel has gone. That doesn't make sense. So, Flippy Dolphin. We've said oh, now we're going to try oh. On. Gone. The seal has gone a long way to get food. It has AY says A stayed under the ice for 1 hour. Wow, that's a long time, isn't it? An hour under the water. It knows that K on the end is silent. You don't say it. It knows it must have air now. It must swim back to the hole in the ice. Okay, we're going to read page number 8. The seal, now I know that O doesn't say O, doesn't say oh, oz, it's goes back to look for a hole, but that O says it doesn't say O. Other seals are looking for holes too. There's that word some. Remember the O doesn't say oh. It doesn't say O, it says like umbrella. There are some holes, but not many. And all these seals want air. Okay. What can we see in the pictures? It looks like there's lots of seals under the water. And they're all fighting to get into one of the holes. Up in the right-hand corner, see how you can see there's lots of seals under the water in that little tiny picture. And they're all trying to get out because they need to breathe air. They've been underwater for so long, they have to get through. So it says the seals fit. That doesn't make sense. Let's flip the I. Fight. That GH is silent. Fight for a hole. They all want. There's that want. That A says It says like orange. Want air. Without air, they will That doesn't make sense. Let's try the I. I. The seals fight with their teeth. They must get back onto the ice. Wow, they're having a fight to try and get through the hole. Wonder what's going to happen now. Okay, we're going to read page number 12 now. All that fighting has add. No, what do I know about A? It says A. Made bubbles. Bubbles in the water. That doesn't make sense. Water. There are so many bubbles, the seals can't see very well. But there is a little hole. The seal can see it lit. No, let's try I. Light. So up it goes fast. Page number 14. What can we see in the picture? Well, it looks like they've made it to the surface. They've made it to the top. Through the hole, and now they're able to breathe some air again. Let's read our words. The seal can get air. Remember that A says when it's at the beginning of the word. Again. This day, it is safe. Nope, what do I know? I said let's try A, safe. But the ice is not as thin now as it was. This will be a big problem for the seals. If the seals can't, see that little apostrophe there? That word is short for cannot. See how I've written underneath the word cannot. So instead of writing cannot, they write can't. And so the little apostrophe means there's letters missing. If the seals can't make their holes, there's that will not, and they've shortened it to won't. They won't find food. If they don't find food, they will die. Oh no, got a bit of a problem here. So the ice is really thick. They have to get through it in order to get food below the ice. Okay, this is the last page in our story. Now on the right-hand side, it has an index, and that means that we can go to certain pages in the book to find information about these things. So on page 6, 8, 10 and 14, we can find information about air. And on page number 3 at the top, we can find information about the Antarctica. And down the page, it tells you where you can find information. Now, we haven't ever probably seen an index page much before and talked about it. But the focus I want to get you to look at today is to look at the pictures. Now, the pictures tell us the sequence of events in the story, the sequence of things that happened in the story. So the first one was the seal is on the ice. And the next picture, it's breaking through the ice to go and find food. And then it's looking for food with a whole heap of other seals. And then the last one is it sees a hole, it sees a little light, and it heads for that hole because it needs to get out so that it can breathe. So the pictures you can talk to. You can talk about what happens in each of those pictures to tell you, to retell what happened in the book that you just read.